Hello and welcome to the crypto day morning for Christmas Eve on the year 2018. I'd like to welcome you to the channel. All bets and of the like, within each his own risk and their own reward. Let's start off within Bitcoin, looking at its inverse, or the TUSD code. And this is the reverse of Bitcoin, or a method of being in fiat cash within the crypto space. And you can call this a head and shoulders pattern. It kind of is. But as I look at this, the market had the major break of this resistance and a significant leg higher, translating into Bitcoin having a significant leg lower. And after it was unable to support in here, it's now filling in some of this empty space. So far it's filled down towards this level. But we can see evidence already within it that this red candle down, just a small amount of correction, but it's just pointing its way back down, showing that this very short-lived rally should be just that, short-lived. It's looking at the possibilities. It's got to break this level of support, but I can see that this candle is albeit just marginally lower, but that's why I like to see a clear break below the key point. And amongst such, on the 4-hour term time frame, since the point A high and the point B low, the only real good correction it has had, with this one being a very small one, and as was the case close to here, very small, was in here. So we have this sideways range correcting within the 18, and 18 average now starting to decline as we've had this move. Market has had a bit of time to digest it, and nothing yet stating that the market in this case is down too much on this code, as there's nothing to bring any sharp price action back up yet. So therefore you have a significant leg lower, it's down a lot short term, and you do this sideways action, well, it's no longer down a lot on the short term, and we'll shorten it out even more to the single hour. And within such, on the digestion of the down move, this is a decent amount of time, and it finally has broken it to the upside, which means Bitcoin on the very short term to the downside. So now in the correctionary mode within such, and in viewing it on the 15-minute, we have this level of major resistance in here on a breakout. So now it's either going to be that failed breakout above, which is normally like the box formation like that, or it's going to be able to make an attempt to fill some of this empty space up in here. Now within this 18 average correction from this level of resistance, if it's going to fail through, it hasn't done it yet, but sideways move, a little bit on this green candle, very much establishing now a very short-term range in here. So breaking a significant move in a downward fashion like this would be showing that the failed breakout in place, or on the daily term time frame that, yes, we'll be making a new leg lower. And if it goes up from here in the short term, that's like nothing amongst the red candles. Again, you're just filling some of this empty space in here, which on the 1 hour time frame means you'd be looking for a price target, or a now what question mark situation coming up to this point. So quickly now looking at Bitcoin and the Fibonacci levels that I put in a while ago now. As the market didn't resist the first two, rather it got above it and supported it. It did resist this one significantly for about 4 or 5 periods, and then had a nice little breakdown to a previous key area of resistance, but not quite down to the 3700 Fibonacci level. Now on this occasion, it has managed to get above this level, supporting it thus far, and pretty much exactly when we take a look at this on a 15-minute time frame, we can see coming right down to that significant key point, but congesting and staying above an area. And that's one of the things I like to look for in key highs and tops. When you go to a point and spend little time, at least on the higher ends in here, and then you come back and just stay there for a while, then that to me is a positive sign within that direction. So I do like the chances moving forward that this thing does break it and has a price objective up to about the 48.5 level. And after a 12.75% gain against Bitcoin, Ethereum having a gain right now of about 8.25% on this day. Two magnificent green candles in a row. And this was following when the market looked like this. I mean, who could have told that this was going to go higher? This tells me that the percentage chances of something like this to occur, which of course it did, was higher than it would have been like on December 15th or November 26th or October the 27th. A nice setup. Now, there was a great setup back in here as it was breaking out. It obviously didn't manage to do it at that point, and oftentimes failed move, fast move, and well, I can see a good decline from that point on. But now making this statement, whenever it goes up to like here-ish area, and of course it did, past tense, then I want to see it hold the 18 and where it came from. But it's gone higher. It's at least now up to here. So I have to upgrade that level, increase that level. How am I going to do so? Well, first off, you can do 38.2% Fibonacci. You could also, well, just key area higher from here is just a little bit up, but that doesn't work too well for me. Within the weekly, this thing is attempting its breakout right now. 18 lows is in at 292. So in the daily term, if I'm looking at 292 in here, that might be, I guess in this case, there's no reason yet to upgrade this level of resistance, I would think, until it's able to maybe have a significant break above, maybe go up another 10% or so, up to about the 380 area. On such, then I'm going to want to see the 18 average of highs, but this 18 average of lows in at this level would also start to rise. But the potential that this thing could do something like we seen last year, where you had the move of a green candle here, boom, 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 every single one in a row. And yeah, the size of those moves, you're thinking, okay, this is a nice move. Well, the size of this candle is close to the size of that one. And of course, it went much higher thereafter that. Moving on with a shorter term, the 4-hour time frame, there's a nice straight up move, a little bit of sideways consolidation, straight up. Now it's on its third period of solid or sideways consolidation. And I guess I could say solid consolidation as well. Break this level of resistance, significant move higher, and then this level of resistance has been established right now at about 360. On the 15, we have, after the last leg higher, price corrects and establishes support in here. Twice later, it ends up matching that level. Within such, it obviously established a level of resistance, which it has now just recently broken out above. Within the last hour, now in its third period, sideways, congesting that move, 18 average starting to go higher. So it looks as if the probability odds soon of breaking this level of resistance is increasing. And if this thing is going to correct, holding this previous level of resistance and the 18, and they'll work together pretty much every time in this spot, very, very important. Because if it doesn't, well, this would look like a failed breakout. And then on this time frame, you're talking about maybe going down here. And we'll finish Ethereum off against the dollar. I'm going to cross it against the US dollar Tether calculated view on Poloniex. Until Tether is like really bad as far as its availability to be close to the US dollar, I'm going to still use it because of the length of data, as I'm just looking for price reflection more than anything. So therefore, $82 was the low on Ethereum, was a 4-digit coin, was a 2-digit coin, is a 3-digit coin now, and at that level. So it's had that break, nice break above such. On the weekly term time frame, it's in that correctionary mode. Where did it come from last? Roughly around here. So if it's going to have any further gains at 186, it would coincide within the 18 average of highs. But it's correcting within the lows now. So when you're in a downtrend, which it obviously is, and you have that push, you're obviously well below this line, and you get to it. So therefore, resisting here can be both bullish and bearish, especially bearish, of course, and even resisting here as well at the 18 highs in this previous point. What's important within it is to obviously hold the levels of support, because every single time in a bear market where you end up ending a correctionary phase and breaking down below support, sort of like in here, it's not a surprise to have a decent leg lower. Here's that spot again. It had a little bit of correctionary move through time, breaks it. So it's currently within that, and it's got to get above here just to attempt to revert the trend. it's not even doing enough to make this go sideways. But if it can manage to get above to about the high 100s in the 190, 180 area, and then hold and stay above 140, 150, that's only enough to neutralize things, thus make this go flat. And then again, getting into well into the 200s would be attempting to revert the trend. Within the monthly term time frame, this has been in a steady increase. So let me just stay with the weekly, but go with more periods. And there we go. So yeah, within this, it's got the point A low, point B high, and right now it's working on point C low. Highs and lows, tops and bottoms known after the fact. This is after the fact. Obviously this high is after the fact. Not the case here. But whether it finds a support here, or even if it does have another leg lower, it comes down to maybe even 40 or wherever down in this area, technically it's still above this $7 and change low. But when you're in a volatile situation where you have the leg higher from low at, like, we'll say 7, a high at about 1400, and you're correcting your higher low right now to barely over 100. What does the mathematics state on a large gain higher? And I'm not going to ask for that exact number, and I'm not going to calculate it, but the simple answer is a significant break above 1300. And we're talking significant. We're probably moving into the 5-digit number later on if it's able to have a major resistance push above this point. Let's move on next to THETA, which had that big move in the start of December where the price went from about 1200 to over 35, or about a 3x maneuver. And I always want to see it hold and stay above here within the 18, and well, it didn't do such an event, but it kind of did. And because the bottom line is it just has to hold that area. It did so at a much lower level. For it got to the 18 average of lows in here and established its support at 13, but it continuously grinded lower. So when I say I need to hold and stay above this level, it did, but short term it stayed below it for quite some time. Now you have this much smaller move compared to the early December rally. So far it's holding amongst the 18 average. But this is why I like the beauty of just having sell orders, because when events like this happen, your sell orders will just take care of business and do what it needs to do. And in that being said, it wouldn't surprise me that when this thing gets going, who knows how much of a large move it is capable of having if it's already done this on a short-term level. And quite frankly, this move here could most likely be overdone when market conditions, which is looking to be the case, show to be very wild and rampant movements. Next up is Populous, which I should deem that to now be in a bull market. Full reversal of trend, stage 1 band flatten out, stage 2 establish, stage 3 come back, stage 4 break it, and that's large enough of a break. It has now managed to go back to where it came from. But with that being said, it did manage to come up to the 3 times hit, but really 2 with this day, and just a key area back here. It's had that little bit of a pullback. This little area of established resistance is in here, which is exactly or pretty much in around where that price happens to be. Still within this, the key point in here was to hold and stay above this, and it did so phenomenally. Didn't even need to go to the 18 lows, but it did successful amongst the highs. Now I want to see it hold and stay above maybe this general area around 4,000 in this area here that the newly established resistance would have been, because before it would have been like 36. So now I'm upgrading it to the high around 4,000, down in the 3,900 to 4,000. So therefore shortening this out to the 4-hour term time frame, there we can see it's recently had that move to that key point back to where it came from. Again, the little area that I like to see it hold is this point here where it was resisting before. As we look at this on a single hour term, it's having a second support test at this level. And it took 2 resistance tests to get over, because we can see this period, it goes to the line, has a significant pullback within its period. So it comes back and then breaks it out, comes up to this level, comes down to this line, up in here, back again. So chopping around with very, very good volatility. 15-minute term, we can see there's your hit of resistance, a very large pullback but successful correction, and an okay but quick move, I guess you could say, breaking to this point. So far successfully supporting it, but we can see it's on its second support test. It's met up with the 18 lows on the 5-minute time frame, and this is something of note. You can see how the periods in here, you got nice body, as I like to call it, within the green and red candles. And then beforehand, when you were having these moves in here, then this is what happens with lower volatile markets that don't trade as much, or less liquidity. So right now things are moving very, very nicely. And when you see something like this, it's very difficult to determine for me what the next play is going to be, because it had an opportunity to get out in here. It didn't break resistance, but it didn't support at around 8:40 through around the end of the 8 o'clock hour, the support area, because seeing it come back here and start to lift higher, I'd be very optimistic. It's not doing that. So it's now hanging in there, congesting amongst this area, still not breaking down and holding this point. But I do realize if it breaks down at like 42.60 in here, I'm seeing it's empty space in this previous support, and then hitting 4,000 here. Well, like I stated, it's okay to come back, because it can, as long as it holds and stays above this key area I talk about, well, it's maintaining that uptrend, because within it, you're going to have all of these beautiful up and down movements. And I say beautiful because that can give great opportunities to be able to trade back and forth on whichever time frame one desires. And let's conclude today's video within VIA coin. I always think of VIA, I always think of a train, because, well, VIA Rail is one of the train stations in Canada. However, you got the downtrend, sideways movement, establishing this level of resistance, coming back, but this is where it gets interesting. A couple days back, it comes up towards here, back to the 18, and now it's regained everything so far in which it has lost on the previous day. When you look at some of these moves, like the lines go up and down, whenever you have any significant rally or whatever, don't be surprised if it comes back fast, and it comes back to where it comes from. Where would be a big move? Well, at least up to this 1,100 number. Where is it right now? Well, it's where it is. So obviously if you see it come up to, like, say 1,180 or something nice like that, or even like 1,500, don't be surprised if it comes back to 925 or something in that general area. It does it all the time in the past. So then, I like how it's got this up move, newly rising, then the red candle, correctionary move down, moving back up again. Very bullish situation. There we can see more for what's happened. Huge, and this is what I talk about, moving up and down fast. That's exactly what happened in here. For you have that move and you come back, you successfully correct within the 18. But this particular period, it is leaving it. So all the times I say, if it can get above a particular area, well, it's doing that within this coin right now. On the single hour term, there was this level of resistance. I've said it so many times before, when it breaks a key level, don't be surprised if you have that fast move. Okay, so for me, if I'm playing this short term, and I'm not, at least not this short term, if you sell in here, then I might be looking to buy back down in here. I'll be putting buy order here, maybe looking to sell up here. But of course, I'm playing it on a more intermediate term. For what I'm selling, a lot of people would still consider that short term, but it is what it is. So the movement's going on, just occurring, breaking of course in here, consolidating this game a little bit over the last hour or so, and 5-minute time frame. It's still trying to decide what we're going to do from here, because this rally could, if it decides this correctionary, like I get a symmetrical move to the upside, you're going to have that significant leg. But we've established support right in. Let me just remove this and go to the 1. It's established. Obviously, support is established. right here. That's where it originally came down. Came into here. But 900. If it's not able to hold that short term, then yeah, we'd be looking to go down another 2%. And that's what happens looking at the 1 minute. But resistance has also been established as well, roughly in here. As the market came up there originally, resisted it, resisting it, selling off right now in the very short term. But when you look at all of what's going on here, market's in an amazing bullish run. And anytime you have this good up move and you have whatever little bit of short-term correction, that's oftentimes what's needed to spark those spectacular moves that can transpire in place. Because if anything like, even if it goes down a bit like this, and then once you see something like that even further, then again, like something like this, you're going to have the good large green candles up. And in this spot here, you'd be expecting it to quickly go to here. And then what happens at this point, I don't like these spots, but that usually means you have the opportunity to even explode it much further. And you could also sell off a little bit where you go up and then into this point. But I know so many times that if it goes to these key areas, like in the U-shaped formations, you might get you might get that cup and handle formation, and you just might get something like this, where it just continues to go up. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.